Hyrox number 1, February 2023 at Glasgow, 1 hour 22:39. 6 weeks training, not structured, not much put into it. Glasgow Hyrox number 2, March 2024. 10-week plan put in place by Halliday, 5th at the World Championships in 2023. Can I beat my time? Registration was at Sports Direct in Argyle Street the night before. As you can see, it is absolutely rammed with people who had the same idea. After that, I moved on to get myself a nice family meal, making sure to load up my carbs so that I was 100% ready to go for the big event. This year, Halliday was making my plan, 10-week plan. The guy was 5th at the Worlds, he's different class. I knew if I wanted to try and progress on last year's time, I had to get some serious help, because last year I just winged it and it went well enough, but I thought this year I would really have a go at it. First run was a 4:10, 1 second faster than last year's first run. Sadly, we didn't get much footage this year because the venue was absolutely packed. My wife struggled to get as much footage as we got last year. But a 4:10, I felt like I struggled, my mouth went dry. It was really tough to get going this year. But we got through it a second faster and it was a decent enough start. SkiErg this year was 4:06. That is 26 seconds faster than last year's 4:32. I did quite a fair bit of SkiErg in my training this time. I felt very comfortable doing it. I didn't want to go too hard too fast, just to save some energy for my next run. Run number 2 was a 4:12. My mouth was absolutely dry. I don't know if it was adrenaline, I don't know if I hadn't hydrated properly, which I thought I did, but I was struggling a lot more through the first 2 runs than I thought I was going to. Then we moved into the sled push, which was 3 minutes I did it in. Last year I did it in 2:38. I was really disappointed. I struggled the whole way through it. I felt like the sleds were so much heavier than last year. Possibly it's because I lost quite a bit of weight from last year and I struggled to push the sled as comfortably as I did. I was a wee bit worried because it was so much slower and so much harder than I thought, but I continued to go. Run number 3 was a 4:26, which was a bit faster than last year's run 3. I was feeling alright, but as you can tell, my times were starting to slow down a wee bit, but I suppose that's always going to happen after a heavy sled push. Moving on to sled pull, a 4:20, which was faster than last year. Pleased with that because I did quite a fair bit of strength work and I had tried to work on my back throughout the plan that Graham had set me. Run 4 was a 4:30. I was starting to even out a wee touch. Paces were alright, but I felt like I could have been running faster. Burpee broad jumps, I did a 2:59. I was absolutely delighted with that. As you can see, my form isn't the best, so please, no comments on that. I didn't realise during the day that I was stepping forward a bit extra, but last year I was a 5:33 on it, a huge difference. I felt so much sharper on this. I actually felt comfortable even finishing up after it, which last year, the legs came off me last year. I was done after this stage. It was so much better. This is again down to my plan. It was just, I executed it exactly like I wanted to. This year I went past people. Last year everybody was overtaking me. Not one person overtook me. I think I actually finished maybe in the top 45 for the burpee broad jumps overall in the day, which delighted me. Sorry about the form. Run 5, 4:35. I've evened right out. Pretty pleased with that considering I'd just done the burpee broad jumps. I was nearly half a minute faster than last year at this stage. The legs felt a lot more comfortable. Again, all the work I'd done previously was clearly starting to pay off for me. The row I did in 4:28. Used this as a recovery similar to last year. Did feel I struggled a lot more towards the end of the row this year. Managed to just dig through and get it done, but it was quicker than last year. Run number 6, 4:34. Consistent again, feeling okay going through. Farmer's carry, 1:55. An event I walked last year just to save energy. This year I decided to try and run if I could this, and it was a fair bit more comfortable. Again, the plan had helped with this. I stopped at 100 metres and 150 metres and saw it through, but running it made it a fair bit quicker. Run number 7, 4:34 again. Consistent again, just seeing it through, feeling reasonably comfortable at this stage. Lunges 351. Last year I was 2.5 minutes slower. I felt so much stronger this year. I did quite well for the first maybe 20-30 metres of my lunges, and then I started breaking it into sets of 10 on the lunges, and I just felt so much more comfortable. It was difficult. Everybody who's done it knows the lunges are hard, but it felt so much better than I had the previous year. Run number 8, a 5:06. In Glasgow, the station for the wall balls was a bit further away, so you did 2 laps and then an extra quarter lap to add on a wee bit of time. But I was pretty pleased considering they'd just done the lunges. The legs were feeling pretty strong at this point. Looking forward to getting into the wall balls just to finish it. Wall balls 6:37. Started off pretty strong, did 25 unbroken. Then I fell apart. I don't know what happened. I was struggling to get more than sets of 5 or 6 in. I think that everything I had had just run out of me by this point. I just didn't have anything left. But I knew, looking at my watch during my breaks, that I was going to beat the time that for last year. I just felt so comfortable throughout the whole event. I knew I could start to take the foot off the gas a bit, and I saw them through. Could have been a lot better. Crossing the finishing line, I felt fantastic. I was absolutely burst, but I was so happy that I had comfortably beaten my time on last year. It just shows that the plan really worked for me. I was absolutely delighted to come in at a 1:12.15, which was an improvement of 10 minutes and 24 seconds on last year's Hyrox. As you can see in the breakdown, the runs were very similar for the first two last year, only 2 seconds of difference over the 2 runs. SkiErg knocked a reasonable amount off, then the sled push, which has really disappointed me, the fact that I was so much slower after what I thought was a decent attempt last year. But the weight loss may play a part in that. Moving on to the burpee broad jump is when it really started to change for me. You can see the massive difference despite the bad form, but overlooking that, it's a huge difference, and that was just an indicator of where my fitness was this year compared to last year. Farmer's carry again, I was really pleased with that. Just getting myself the extra 40 seconds on that made a bit of a difference, and it still feels like a recovery. Sandbag lunges were massive for me. That ended me last year, and I felt like this year I was so much more comfortable. The final run was shorter than last year's due to the fact that the wall ball station had moved, but it was a considerable amount quicker, and then wall balls, just good to get that done. Still not fast enough for me, but I think that there's a lot more work in me to do to get quicker. The run total time, 2.5 minutes off, something that I'm pleased with, but I'm also disappointed. I feel like there is so much more in there. I was a 17-minute 5k runner a few years ago. That's the level I want to get back to and really knock time off of my runs, and hopefully that can bring my Hyrox time right down. Next up for me is Birmingham in October. I'm going to try and go sub 70. It's going to be a big ask, but I think that if I stick to a plan again, then I can definitely get under it. I need to work a lot on my running and my wall balls. That in itself, I think I could take maybe 3 or 4 minutes off, which would push me under the sub 70. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care.